Welcome to part 2 of the Stress Relief series. Today we are going to talk about mindfulness, awareness, and show you some ways of how to apply this to your everyday life. To start off, I want to share with you a book I read for some inspiration during this presentation. It's called Coming to Our Senses by Jon Kabat-Zinn. He is very well known for the creation of the Stress Reduction Clinic in California and is a professor of medicine. So let's find out a little bit more about the book. The journey towards health and sanity is nothing less than an invitation to wake up to the fullness of our lives as if they actually mattered. Jon Kabat-Zinn started the book off like this, and his intentions of this book was to show how the power of being mindful can bring profound changes to our personal lives. This quote can mean something different for everybody, but what I want you to do is to take it the way that you would need it. What does it mean to you? So what is mindfulness? Here are a couple definitions to describe just how large this specific topic truly is. It's a way of connecting with your life. It's paying attention on purpose in the present moment. It doesn't require a ton of energy, only attention. It's non-judgmental, it's open-minded as possible, and it's living moment to moment. The first subject matter Jon Kabat-Zinn talks about is paying attention. But what do you need to be paying attention to, you're asking? Well, it truly doesn't even matter. As long as you're attentive to what you're paying attention to, then you're being mindful. How easy is it to eat without even tasting your food because you're busy answering your emails while checking your Facebook newsfeed? The only time we're truly present is now. Take a look at this sign for a moment. Tomorrow is pointing to the right, yesterday is pointing to the left, and the word now has no directional sign but is big and bold. The question worth asking here is, how much time do you spend thinking about the future or reminiscing about the past? The reality? It's essential to think about the future. We need to plan ahead at work, plan our days to complete tasks. We definitely need to plan a vacation and a getaway. We can't just show up randomly. How about plan for a successful career path or even retirement? This is what drives us as humans. But is it taking over your entire thought process? So what is the reality when it comes to thinking of the past? Why is it that sometimes we can let go of the things that stress us out, and that at other times, even after the event has passed and we know we can't even change it, we continue to be stuck about it? Is this consuming our thoughts? We have to think about the past at times, and it's essential to plan for the future. But find your happy medium so the past and future don't stress you out that much. The past is where you learned the lesson, and the future is where you apply the lesson. So what are we missing out on by not being mindful? Did we miss an update from that coworker we had a conversation with earlier because we were too busy thinking about what to have for dinner? Or did we flunk our test after spring break because we didn't pay attention during the last class? Yes, these may be silly examples, but just by paying attention a little bit more, we could eliminate some of these. I've got some tricks for us though, don't worry. Let's take a look at 2 sample scenarios of how being mindful can really benefit you both physically and mentally. Scenario 1. You woke up in the morning and you're experiencing neck pain that might first appear as sensations of stiffness or muscle tightness. We have all had this happen to us before. Maybe you slept on too high of a pillow or fell asleep on the couch in the most awkward position. This may be one of the worst ways to start your day. So the first sign and symptom is a stiff neck. Your first thought, well, hopefully it'll just go away on its own, right? But the fact is, your day doesn't just stop for neck pain. You still have to get up, you still have to get ready, you still have to go to work. Then you have to come home and you got to clean the house, and you still have your daily tasks that you have to do. So what happens next? Well, we get busy, of course. We get used to the pain, and then we just continue to ignore it. This is the perfect example of how a minor problem can be turned into a chronic complaint. But don't worry if you've had this happen to you before, because you're definitely not alone. But the question to ask here is, how in this situation can we become more mindful in the beginning to prevent that chronic complaint from occurring? First things first is we want to have an action plan for getting this horrible neck pain gone. Here are some ways that you could give some love to your neck but continue on with your day as well. Attend a yoga class. Get a good massage from time to time. Sleeping with a different pillow. Evaluate yourself on that. If that's truly something that you feel is giving you a problem, it's time to change pillows. Train yourself to notice how stress and tension can accumulate in the neck at particular times. Maybe it's only after an intense meeting that you feel this. Notice that pattern and then find a way to become aware of those situations in your own body. This is a funny example that I know most of us can relate to, but I dare you to try something like this the next time it happens to you. Scenario 2. It's your nephew's first soccer game of the season. You are so busy at work, but you would be the world's worst aunt or uncle if you missed it. So, what do? Do you go to the game to make him happy? Do you multitask and work while you're watching the game at the field? The fact is that in this scenario, if you choose to work and watch, you will only be present for 50% of both of them. Just like the neck pain, make an action plan. Make alternative plans with your nephew. Take him out to get ice cream on Saturday so he can tell you about his game, and that way you don't feel so bad. Or go into work a little earlier so that way you can manage to do both of them. The end result, either way, is that you get to spend time with your nephew and you get your work done. I know this seems like a simple task, but when we have too many things on our plates, we tend to be overwhelmed. Now that we have learned how being mindful can help us in the long run, I also want to share some ways that can help improve focus at work, not only for yourself, but for your work team too. Let's take a look. The first way to improve our focus would be to increase our positive thoughts. Our brain responds powerfully to negative emotions, which do interfere with the brain's ability to solve problems and do other cognitive work. When we have positive thoughts, though, it does quite the opposite. It can inspire creativity and improve strategic thinking. So here's how you can increase those positive thoughts. For you, notice your negative emotions and understand where they come from. We want to have that healthy ratio, typically around 3-1. We can't say that we'll never have a negative emotion again, but looking at the positives when it is a negative can always help. For your team, start your meeting off on a positive note. Maybe announce a great sale during the week or a client compliment. The second way that we can improve our focus is by applying the brakes. We are constantly scanning internal and external environments, especially in this always-on world. There's always something new to look at on your phone, or if there's new research out, and it's hard to keep up on. So in order to avoid distractions from taking away your focus, what you could do is use the ABC method. Become aware of the distraction, breathe deeply, and choose thoughtfully. For your team, have a 30-minute meeting with no distractions. Have everybody leave their cell phones, laptops, tablets, or any other gadget right at the door and just use your imaginations and your personalities. Last thing we can try to practice is something called shift set. This is where we can attempt to bring our full attention onto a new task after we've completed another task, leaving nothing left behind on that last one. So for you, before you begin your new task, go for a walk, climb some stairs, do some deep breathing or stretches. Let those new ideas flow in during these times. And for your team, schedule a 5-minute break for every hour of a meeting. 3 tips from Jon Kabat-Zinn are these. Number 1, check in with yourself. A question that he likes to ask is when you're standing in the shower, are you thinking about the water pouring on you, or are you already in your 9 a.m. meeting? Number 2, snap your fingers. Bring yourself back to the present thoughts. And last but not least, number 3, all we have is time in life, so truthfully, we are never too busy. To leave off on a good note and a good quote, here's one I'd like to share. A mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work if it isn't open. This quote speaks volumes, But I challenge each and every one of you to become more mindful in everyday life, whether that's at work, at home, with family, or with friends, wherever it may be for you. Have a great day, guys, and thanks again for listening.